At last the transfer window is closed, the irritating international break is over, and we can all concentrate on the real business of club football. It remains a mystery as to why the window remains open after the start of the season. This major distraction when clubs and players are trying to concentrate on a solid start to a new season can't possibly be popular, but they don't seem to be the major consideration in the sport today. Money rules the game more than ever, and transfer activity driven by agents and parts of the media that profit from it now decide what happens and when. Admittedly, we all like a bit of fantasy football, but it's time to stop the circus becoming bigger than the game, before the sport gets to be about doing deals for 9 months with a couple of months football thrown in for a laugh. That said, you had to be intrigued by the Reds' activity in the window, and 3 aspects marked this year as different from previous seasons. Firstly, ambition. For that early approach for Virgil van Dijk, probably the highest-rated defender in the Premiership, and the sustained efforts to sign Naby Keita. Arguably 2 players who could raise an already decent side into stronger title contenders. Secondly, the attraction of Anfield. Whereas in recent seasons we have lost out to the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United and Tottenham, this year's top targets have expressed a desire to join us ahead of the others. You could say that qualification for the Champions League has helped, but we've been here before and failed. Jurgen Klopp with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at Anfield on Sunday. Image photo by Andrew Power. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. We shouldn't underestimate the attraction of Jurgen Klopp, a coach who earns his salary getting the best out of players. There's a few other top managers around who think they earn their salary by spending money. Thirdly, getting a deal done. Although it became clear that RB Leipzig were unwilling to do business this summer, we've struck a deal to bring our number 1 target to Liverpool next year. We even managed to clinch a deadline day deal for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain ahead of Chelsea. Too often in the past, deals have failed to materialize due to another club making a late bid, the player's wife insisting on shopping at Harrods, or the selling club changing their mind on deadline day. It's time we found the resolve to make things happen rather than find excuses. Philippe Coutinho of Liverpool looks on during the International Champions Cup match between Liverpool and Barcelona. Image Michael Regan. Getty Images. Despite all of this, the big story of the window was the pursuit of Philippe Coutinho by Barcelona. Well done to LFC for sticking to its guns right through the window and refusing to sell. This was arguably our biggest statement of ambition. Why would a team with genuine designs on winning the Premiership sell one of its best players? We all know that Latin players tend to have some kind of genetic need to play for Barca, but that doesn't mean that we have to sell a player who happily signed a 5-year contract just a few months ago. Liverpool FC is much too big to be a feeder club, and when Barca come calling, if you're big enough you can tell them no. One day he may well go, but the timing of any deal has to suit us. It was clear that Barca directors were under pressure to sign some big names after the loss of Neymar and an early season defeat to Real Madrid, as they constantly told the Spanish press that a deal for Coutinho was almost done. The reality was that it was never going to happen, but they didn't dare admit to that. In the end, the mighty Barcelona had to fabricate a story that accused LFC of dirty tricks through a last-minute agreement to sell Coutinho for €200 million. For the sake of distracting criticism from its own president over the failure to attract the principal target, they have insulted LFC and risked damaging the relationship between the player and his club. A simple denial is all that has come from LFC so far, but the club should seriously consider refusing any future dealings with Barcelona without a full public retraction and an apology. Mohamed Salah celebrates an Anfield masterclass. As for our own signings, we've done okay. On the whole, Klopp tends to sign players that he believes have potential rather than those that already look the finished article. Mo Salah looks the pick of the bunch mainly because he has adapted so well, although he was already the highest rated of the new players. Andrew Robertson has had few chances so far and is still settling in, but watching him play for Scotland over the past few days, he looks a really good signing. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has been a decent player with Arsenal for 6 years but has failed to live up to his early promise. He is the player I would expect to gain most from Klopp's coaching, and could become something special for LFC. Dominic Solanke was the big surprise, looking destined for U23 appearances this season. His pre-season performances have forced him into first-team contention and provided another good quality attacking option. Finally, that deal for Keita next year has probably turned what might have felt a slightly disappointing window into a success, and nice to get next year's business done early. Mark Baker Heighton. Liverpool's left side has been transformed by Alberto Moreno. Alberto Moreno is a fantastic example of Jurgen Klopp's willingness to improve the players at his disposal, rather than cave into fans' obsession to solve issues with the checkbook as opposed to coaching. The Spaniard spent only a season as a left-back before signing, having spent his time in Sevilla's youth ranks as an advanced wide player. Alberto Moreno during the UEFA Champions League qualifying playoff between Hoffenheim and Liverpool. Image John Power. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. Having displayed excellent physical and technical attributes, it was evident the player's weaknesses included positional sense and decision-making, all of which can be developed on the training field. Just like Jordi Alba and other examples of converted wingers, Moreno is a modern fullback able to overlap, an athlete with technical assurance. Liverpool's left-hand side has been transformed with his inclusion in terms of mobility and dynamism. Ben Woodburn's international debut made the hairs on my neck stand up. Simon Donnelly. Freshfield. The other big thing I discovered last week was just how advanced Brazilian medicine must be. Don't you just love the international break? One's excitement knows no bounds. The transfer window slammed shut last Thursday, and I was left with mixed emotions. I wonder who was actually in that private jet that every taxi driver will tell you flew from Southampton to John Lennon Airport on the last day. It's certainly WASNTVVD. Against Arsenal the previous weekend, I did a personal scouting mission on the Ox, knowing we were interested. We dismantled Arsenal, and I came away from Anfield with the conclusion that Chelsea could have him, but Alex is obviously a man of intelligence and taste, and knew exactly where he wanted to go. It's up to our manager now to tease out of him the player everyone seems to believe is in there somewhere. The other big thing I discovered last week was just how advanced Brazilian medicine must be. We spent weeks trying to cure Philippe Coutinho of all his various illnesses and back problems, and yet the Brazilian doctors had him sorted, fully fit, and out there scoring for his country in the time it takes to email a transfer request. Brazil's Philippe Coutinho celebrates with teammate Willian. I hope the magician gets his head round his situation and is back doing what he does for us ASAP. The fact that there is a World Cup at the end of this season must work in our advantage. I think Manchester City away this weekend, and I can't call it. If I had to put my money on it, I think we can beat them, lay down more of a marker for the season, and breed the confidence that is so important if we are going to challenge. Graham Agg. Netherton. Has the penny finally dropped for FSG? Liverpool have started this season as they competed last season, comfortably blowing away top Premier League opponents with stylish, fast-flowing, pulsating football, as witnessed again at Anfield versus a poor Arsenal outfit. And yet struggling to beat Watford on the opening day of the season, conceding a late equaliser, and it was a laboured 10 victory over Frank de Boer's Crystal Palace team at Anfield. If Klopp can change the mindset of the players when they play against the also-rans, and they can go into the matches with the same attitude as when they play the top teams, then a serious title challenge is imminent. Jurgen Klopp shows his appreciation to the fans at the end of the Premier League match against Arsenal at Anfield. Image photo by John Power. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. Jurgen Klopp's record against the top teams of Man City, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham in the Premier League since he took the reins back in October 2015 now reads: played 19, won 9, drawn 9, lost 1, an outstanding record. Liverpool's UEFA Champions League group of Sevilla, Spartak Moscow and Maribor Group E surely gives them an outstanding chance to qualify for the last 16. And with Anfield being a fortress, particularly against European opponents, and the intimidating atmosphere generated by a 54,000 full house, who is to say that LFC can't go all the way to the final in Kiev in May? Any team with a starting lineup comprising of Firmino, Lallana, Salah, Main the one-to-way Coutinho is surely enough to scare even the strongest of European opponents, and therefore a surely serious UEFA Champions League contenders. Andrew Robertson of Scotland is tackled by Ryan Fenech of Malta. Image Ian McNicol. Getty Images. Klopp has bought well in the summer. Andy Robertson looks a great buy, scored a great goal for Scotland in the weekend, was outstanding against Palace, and surely deserves a long run in the team at the expense of the inconsistent Moreno. Salah looks a snip at £35 million. Solanke and Oxlade-Chamberlain will only get better under the stewardship of Klopp, and with Naby Keita arriving next summer the future looks fantastic. The only disappointment being the failure to land a top centre-back, which hopefully won't come back to haunt us. Klopp talks to FSG after beating Middlesbrough. Image Nick Taylor. Liverpool FC via Getty Images. I want to finish by praising LFC owners John Henry, Tom Werner and the Fenway Sports Group in the resolute determination to keep Philippe Coutinho at the club despite FC Barcelona's devious tactics to unsettle the player. Players like Coutinho need to learn to recognize that you can't just pack up at a whim and leave, particularly at a club like Liverpool, after signing a financially rewarding new 5-year contract worth a reputed £150,000 a week just 8 months previously. Maybe at last, FSG have come to realize that unless LFC share the title of being a selling club after the previous departures of top players, Fernando Torres, Javier Mascherano, Luis Suarez and Raheem Sterling among many others in the last 7 years, then they will never regain the position at the helm of English and European football. Maybe for our American owners the penny has finally dropped.